Hello, I'm William Longfellow, and welcome to Let's Play Super Mario Kart Pro Edition. Today I'll be racing the Mushroom Cup with Tiny Yoshi. And unlike in my Let's Play of Super Mario Kart, I won't be beginning each race in last place. With this game I'm not good enough to win every time playing catch-up. And I especially like to stay in first place on this course here. It's very hard for me to catch up to the computers once I fall behind here, because there aren't very many opportunities for a character like Yoshi to gather enough speed to blast by the computers, and it's very easy to be crushed here. The course is not terribly wide. So what I do is I try to start off in first place and stay just ahead of Koopa there. And I don't think I can race fast enough to increase my distance from Koopa. So what I have to do is I have to race consistently, make sure I stay on the inside of the track and avoid any green shells Koopa sends my way. And if I do that successfully, I can win the race, but it's quite difficult. I've had to practice this a lot before being able to do it. This is probably the hardest or second hardest course in this cup to do while tiny. Now this next course, the Donut Plains course, I think it's maybe the hardest one to do while large, but it's not too difficult comparatively when you're tiny. Now I have to race with sort of the same consistency here as I did in the first cup, but it's a bit shorter of a race. Just stay on the inside and make my turns clean. And if I do that well, then I should be able to win. On that last turn there, the computers like to play catch up. It's here that I can gain distance against the computers if ever I fall behind. And it's a little bit easier here to catch up to computers. You see, I'm in second place here, and it's very hard to ever catch up to a computer in the first course, the Mario Circuit course. But since I was able to take those turns well, I just slipped right ahead of Koopa without even having to confront him, because he takes a different path from mine on those forks. So to pass this course, I needed a lot of comfort with the course, and with the character that I'm using. But I didn't need any particular strategies. Sometimes what would happen is the second place computer would throw items in my way, and that would be bothersome, like if they throw it on the bridge. But a lot of the other times the computer would throw an obstacle on the right-hand fork right after the beginning of the course, and since I never used that path, it never presented a problem for me. Now this is the most difficult course, and it's right here that the computer tends to catch up to me and sometimes cuts me off and crushes me in so doing. So I'll have to be careful to make that turn as tight as I can without bumping into the walls. Because if the computer gets ahead of me, I find it extremely difficult to catch up to them. Especially if multiple computers get ahead of me. I have had practice runs where I hit a wall rather poorly, coming into the finish line, for instance on the first lap, say, and I fall into 5th or 6th place, and I race heroically the rest of the race and just barely get 2nd place. Or I don't rank at all sometimes. I get crushed because it's very difficult to squeeze by the computers. This track is more narrow than it looks. There aren't very many good places to go and turn. But I seem to be doing pretty well here. Now I just make this turn well, and there we go. And I was pretty lucky that Koopa didn't throw too many green shells my way. Missing a turn on that course can slow you down quite a bit. So it's harder than it looks. It really doesn't permit any mistakes. And when there are green shells in my way, it just makes it that much harder. Now this course is with the others requires some consistency with Tiny Yoshi. And I think that's just something with Tiny Yoshi, because he doesn't have the speed to burst out ahead like Bowser or Donkey Kong Jr. can. But he does have the acceleration to pop forward if I do slow down. So I have a bit of a cushion. But with the computers constantly at my tail, even the slightest slowdown could make me be crushed. Oopsies. I was pretty lucky there. I laid a banana so that Donkey Kong Jr. wouldn't flatten me. That was a defensive use of my item there, and only 2 computers were able to rush out ahead of me as I made that mistake. So that was some pretty good damage control there. And now, to catch up to Koopa. Now, Koopa just used 2 items at the same time there, laying his green shell and feathering to avoid my attack at the same time. So it'll be a little tricky for me to catch up. Now, I took that turn a little bit more on the inside, but I was taking a risk, because if Koopa made the turn any sharper, he may well have crushed me. But I read him right there, and I finished in first place. A bit of a come-from-behind victory there. And finally, the last race in the Mushroom Cup, Mario Circuit 2, is the easiest one. The easiest one both to stay ahead and to catch up on. It's the widest and has the most opportunities to pass computers without having to cross their paths and risk being crushed by them. And my general strategy on this course is kind of like what I did the last time I played this course with a large character. I take the S-curve path on the first 4 laps, and then I take the left fork on the last lap. Now, this S-curve path is the one that the computers take, so if I wanted to avoid them, I might take the left fork. But so far I'm staying ahead of them, and if I continue to race pretty well, then this is probably the safest path to take. Because the computers tend to race a little more aggressively when I take the other fork. When they're behind me, they slow down a little bit more. They maybe think about how to pass me instead of just blasting forward as they normally try to do. And here we come into the final lap. And I try to cut off this sandy part as much as I can. And taking the left fork saved me a second or 2. And so if I were in second place at the end of the last lap, or third place, I might be able to recover a few positions by taking the left fork there, as well as avoid the computers that might otherwise be difficult to pass. Well, anyways, that was the Mushroom Cup. Harder than it looked. I practiced quite a bit for that. And I'll see you next time with Bowser in the Flower Cup. Thanks for watching.